Hello, everybody. It's Chris Jowsey here from Admiral Taverns. There have been so many inspirational stories from licensees and pubs from across the UK that I was really keen to try and share some with you if we could. Today, I'm having a conversation with Michelle Dwan, who is the licensee at the Victoria Hotel, community wet-led pub near Castleford. Michelle is absolutely inspirational in that she's completely changed the nature of her pub in light of coronavirus. So she's gone from being a wet-led community pub to delivering more food on both a collect and a delivery basis. And she's completely transformed the inside of her pub in order to minimise the risk of coronavirus being transmitted to customers. Don't get too hung up on what she's done in her pub. It's her solution currently, and none of us yet know what the rules will be when we reopen, hopefully from the 4th of July. But just take real inspiration from her willingness to sort of reconsider everything she does, change it, and make a real success, both for herself and her business, but also importantly for the local community. And if you have an inspirational story, please get in touch, please share them. I'll be delighted to put it on the channel and on the website. Thank you. So, how are you? You well?
I'm fine, thank you.
Right, shall we crack on then?
Yeah.
Just talk me through how the operation works.
Okay, so we moved the carveries downstairs.
Yeah.
Because my operation was upstairs and I didn't want people going upstairs, and it was all about social distancing. Yeah. So help a local farmer, got the carveries out one of the top windows, moved them downstairs and in our front door. Got so you. This is our front door, which you come in. When we're open, we have bollards that go outside. They're a metre apart to show social distancing. We have signs all along on the carpet. So when you come in, so if you come in the front door, what you see straight ahead, we have our signs of all the food and the offers we're doing. Mm-hmm. If you look across the bar, I don't know if it shows very well, we have perspex up. Maybe if I go closer. Yeah. It's still clean. So there's perspex up. You come forward here, give the member of staff your order, move down to here, pay. There's a gap here under this part of the perspex. Yeah. Pay here and move down here to pick up and then go out the bottom door.
Brilliant.
So one-way system. If you're coming up to me for food, you would turn right when you come in. Yeah. So you follow the signs up here. Yeah. Up here, you must put on a pair of gloves. Then you step forward onto this dot. There's 2 meters between me and the back of the carvery. You can choose what you want. So I pass out the meal over to this end. I move away, and then you can move forward. Yeah. Put what you need on, work away, and back down. And then take off the gloves into this bin here. Same procedure down to the bar. If there's only allowed one person in the building at any one time, to keep people moving, if I have somebody on the carvery and anybody wants a drink or another purchase, yes, the girls will serve them and they'll go out the bottom door. Right. But we also have signs which we're very conscious about because we're a community pub. We don't want to get labelled, so we try and discourage drinking in the park across the road, along the streets, you know, because I have to think about our community. We have to look after them as well. And I have to be very responsible about that. So, so that's kind of the procedure we have in place.
So when you were setting this up, obviously you've thought about the flow of people through the pub, and how to make it safe for them, but also to make it safe for your staff. Is that right?
Yeah, so at the start, to be quite honest, we were very nervous. We all were. I was scared. I still won't go to the supermarket, to be quite honest. Yeah. So we just did a takeaway service, which we quickly put together. We had a big problem, and we still have a big problem, sourcing the proper cartons and the food boxes. And one of the biggest things we have to make sure that the boxes we are using, to be quite honest, They're probably more expensive than what I could get, but we kind of feel we're a quality a quality establishment, so we have to keep up that quality that we're sending out to people. So we still have an ongoing problem with sourcing that, to be honest. So as I say, we did takeaway at the start. We did it ourselves. Got a little bit more confident, and the isolation kind of became norm then. Becomes part of your routine. So about 2 weeks ago, we looked at the business very different. The £10,000 grant we got just about covers the fixed costs, and we were going to be around between £7,000 and £8,000 short between the start and the end of June, and we just can't afford to go into debt. So we had a big discussion on what we can do. And going back to the start, my biggest argument is, I suppose, with everybody that listens to me, we have an on-off license, as a lot of places do. So we can still operate as an off license, and we can operate as a takeaway, because that's what the government gave us all when they put us into lockdown. So with that in mind, and with people starting new routines at home, we wanted to still be part of that routine, that they didn't forget about it. So where are we today? I had a big chat with staff. We had a group chat on Monday, the 4th of May, because myself and Malcolm can't do it all ourselves. And the plan we came up with, as long as they agreed, they are rotating. I have 4 full-time staff that are with me a long time. So they were going to have to take a hit too, because coming off 80% of their full-time to helping me, which is about 17 to 20 hours a week, they're taking a wage cut, and they're quite happy. And I kind of felt, well, if you're interested in supporting the business and trying to save it, well, now I'll know if you are prepared or not. So they agreed. So what we're doing with one member of staff, they work a week, then they're furloughed for 3 weeks. And then they do a week. So that's the plan we have in place. So we're rotating that.
And just in terms of, I mean, clearly you're doing food, which, and you weren't food led before, but you're doing more food than you were.
That's the ironic thing about it. I have a big thing about, we are a wet led community pub where you can get food. We're not food led. And that's so funny. You know, when people are looking and they're saying, oh, she's okay, she's doing food. No, we were doing 500, 600, maybe £700 worth of food, pizzas, easy food. You know, it wasn't a big part of our business. And now it's the lifeline.
And how much, out of interest, how much draft beer are you selling as well then?
To be quite honest, it's been a little bit mixed. So we opened on the 8th, Friday the 8th, which was VE Day. We opened for people to come in for beer. So we opened at 12 o'clock, and we have pint glasses, takeaway containers, like you get in at McDonald's or any of those. And the other containers, we couldn't get any of the beer containers. So I sourced milk containers from a creamery supplier that supplies milk. They're actually coming up from London, to be honest. So these 2-pinters and 4-pinters. So we opened and didn't know what way it was going to go. We get a lot of walkers that go by, and it was quite popular. As the day went on, there was youth who realised we were open and obviously started messaging. And when I saw them kind of congregating in the park across the road from us, we closed. So that's the other decision. You have to find a happy medium in what you're doing. We're established here in the community a long time. I don't want to upset my neighbours. And I had to do the same Sunday. Sunday we were open 12:30 till 3:30. At 2:30, I said food only. Or if you were getting food, you could have a drink. Because I don't want people coming into Allerton Bywater to come to the Victoria Hotel. It's a service we're providing for the community, not for people to drive from other places. So it's finding that balance as well.
And you've got a range of snacks and things as well there as well. I mean, it looks as if you're trying to...
So the idea, you see, with takeaway, we were literally just delivering food. So I'm trying to upsell. So the people that aren't self-isolating, we're encouraging them to come down and collect their food. So hopefully when they come through the door, they see the chocolate, they see the ice cream, they see the teas or coffees, puts ideas in their heads if they're out walking. They see the biscuits, the cakes,
Yeah.
all sorts of things like that.
Okay.
And they see the draft, and it's introducing them to the draft that they can come down and get their evening pint, really, and take it home.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to encourage.
And Michelle, you said to me, I think, that you'd had a few teething problems with the local authority and the police. Talk me through the story again.
Okay, so we set up all our takeaway. We opened our doors on the Friday. On the Sunday, we had 2 visits from the police. We had one early doors, and they had to look around and were very happy with our setup.
Yeah.
And off they went. We had a second visit then at about 5 o'clock that evening from 2 more policemen. And seemingly there was an email to the local councillor, and the local councillor had got onto the police. So the police, second set, had to look around, took photographs to put on file, to put everybody's mind at rest back at station and everything. And that was fine. We thought, great, everything is fine. And then licensing rang on Monday morning to tell us that what we were doing was wrong. So in their eyes, all we could do was put a table outside the front door. We could serve alcohol with food orders. If it was alcohol on its own, we had to deliver it. So I was quite stomached, and don't get me wrong, I have a good relationship with licensing. It wasn't a heated conversation or anything. Yeah. So came off there and made numerous phone calls. Made phone calls to yourselves, to FLVA. I knew I had seen papers from BBPA, and we had to get our wits together. Yeah. So phone talked for 24 hours, and then I knew we were doing everything properly. We actually had even got papers from other councils with their guidance. Okay. So I rang her at 10 o'clock on Tuesday morning, and she went first. I said the phones have been hopping, and like I said, I didn't want to fall out with her, and I didn't want to rub her nose in it. And she apologised. She said, "You're right, we're wrong."
Great.
And you know, it was a relief. But as I tried to explain to her, there's pubs up and down in the country and they're doing this. So I needed to get the word out to them if we were doing something wrong. Because in all of this, there will always be people that are going to complain and give you bad publicity. So the last thing you want to be is on the wrong side of the law as well. Yeah. You know, anything we do, we have to know that we are correct in what we're doing. So, you know, that's one of the main battles.
Well, I guess the thing is as well, you're going to be around for a long time, you know, after this crisis is over. So you want those relationships to be maintained, don't you?
Absolutely. I have to stay open in this village. And like you say, the relationships with them, you know, you have to have a good relationship with them, or you're on a hiding to nothing.
Yeah,
you know, it's and it, as I say, it's what some people are forgetting as well, you know, as regards the business and everything. There's a lot of people, okay, there's a lot of people out there furloughed. They're on 80%, but they're not going to the cinema, they're not going out to restaurants, there's no holidays. They now have disposable income. Yeah. And we also have our pensioners and you know, that customer base, and their income hasn't changed. Yeah. You know, they have their pensions and they have it to spend.
I guess the key thing for them is to make sure they feel safe.
Yeah, yeah. We do a lot of home deliveries now to people that have to self-isolate, which is very good, you know. Yeah. But
what advice would you give? I mean, you're adapting your business as we speak, yeah, and you've managed to get going, generating some income. But what advice would you give to other licensees at this time?
I mean, we all have big decisions to make. It's scary times, it's lonely times, and you have to stand back as well and look at what can you do with your business, you know, can you reinvent it, can you do something else? That's what we're doing, but it's not going to save us. It's okay for short term, but we have to look at long term. And it's fine until June, what's going to happen then. But in the meantime, for ourselves, you know, it's things, you have to eat, we go walking, you have to talk. You know, I do like the Admiral WhatsApp. I wish more licensees were on it. I'm at it a long time. I wish, you know, there's new ones out there, and it's very lonely. They're at home in their empty pubs. They've no income coming in. And yeah, it's lonely times and it's hard times, and it's big decisions for us for the future. You know, are we going to get out of it? My worry is, you know, they let us open on the 4th of July. Yeah, I have a big beer garden as long as the weather is fine. I have the problem inside, going to the toilets and policing all of that. You get into the winter. Personally, I feel the virus will peak again. And where is it all going to end? So, I mean, both for Admiral and for us too, am I going to remain a busy fool? You know, our lives are on hold. We have no income. Staff are on furlough, and all we're doing is holding, just holding at the minute. You know, and it is hard.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think it's. We're all learning, aren't we, as we go through this, and none of us anticipated this in advance, and we're having to sort of learn again how to live our lives and deal with the risk and the fear of the virus as well. But it feels as if we're getting a lot of lessons currently from other countries and from different industries, and you know, I'm always optimistic, but I know we'll find a way through this. I can't tell you precisely how it will be yet. And I think it's really important that we do support each other. It's ironic, this is Mental Health Awareness Week this week.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I just think it's so important for especially an industry that's full of people who are outgoing and want to support each other. It's really important we keep that happening. Otherwise, you know, if you're stuck on your own in your pub, it's an awful thing, isn't it?
It's awful. It's a bit like the tables are turned. Many of us licensees will see we're up and down our bars at night time, and we build up rapport with our customers. And sometimes you will find there's a lot of lonely people on the other side of your bar, and you know, they come into you and they have their pint and you brighten their day and you listen to them and they just want somebody to talk to. And now the tables have turned and we're all stuck as such behind our empty bars, and a lot of licensees have nobody to talk to. So it's getting that message out. We must talk to each other. We don't have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. I just know what we're doing. It's helping us at the moment. And we have good days and bad days. You know, I might be the joys of life today, but certainly, you know, yesterday I wasn't, you know, and it's not easy.
Okay.
You know.
And is there anything else we can do to help at Admiral? What would you like us to do that we're not doing currently?
I suppose for me, because I'm around a long time, I know you're doing an awful lot of work behind the scenes. I know you're probably at it day and night. I'm sure you're talking to the government, you know, any opportunity, and I'm sure you're running all sorts of campaigns. There's a lot of licensees out there that don't know that. They don't know what goes on behind the scenes. And so they're sitting there thinking that, you know, they're being ignored and they're all alone. So like a simple thing, like I think, try and get everybody on WhatsApp where, you know, we can all pass stuff on. You know, I'm as much to blame. I don't go on WhatsApp, which, I could go on more, I suppose, and talk to other licensees and seeing if there's anything we can do to help anybody. But, you know, I'm sure there's people out there at the minute that can't pay their bills, and it's frightening. It's absolutely frightening. But they need to talk.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that's really struck me about Admiral is, you know, I think we need to develop those communication channels, I suppose they call them. So we're really good at talking to people when our BDMs are in the field. You know, I think we talk a lot. But when you can't do that, or if you need to have other ways of doing it, then, you know, we need to be much better on WhatsApp, online websites, all these kind of forums that we could create, which would be virtual, but they're better than nothing when we can't speak directly.
Absolutely.
So a lot of work to do around that for us.
Yeah. You know, it's, and I suppose the other thing I have a big thing about is as regards going forward. Pubs have been beaten and battered for years, and the supermarkets give us an awful clout and all sorts of other things. And the supermarkets at the minute are taking all our business, full stop. Yeah. You know, their sales are up and the whole lot. And like I think I've said to you before, a lot of the shareholders have pathways into different places and everything. And I think it's time that the industry, not just Admiral, the whole industry got together and did a big advertising TV campaign, a little bit like, I love the Tesco and Aldi advert where and the lady who likes gin. So why couldn't we have a big advert campaign, you know, a tinny from a supermarket or draft from your pub?
Yeah.
Quality food takeaway from your pub, or greasy takeaway from the local takeaway. You know, we need to be bold about this now and get the message out. You know, it's everything we do. You know, everybody we serve. You know, there's no underage drinking. The controls we have controls in our beer gardens. We're a very controllable industry, and we get battered and beaten.
I think you're absolutely right, and I think, you know, one of the few upsides of the virus is I think an awful lot of people have realised just how much they miss the pub and how much.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
But I think we have, as an industry, we have to capitalise on that between now and reopening, and then thereafter in the summer. I think we've got to really make the most of that to remind people what they could have lost if they weren't careful.
Yeah.
And get them to keep coming back more often, basically. And I think
definitely. Yeah.
we've got the platform to do that now. I think there's a lot of interest as a consequence of the virus.
Yeah, but as I say, be bold about it. I wouldn't take any prisoners. Just be bold, and, you know, it's a better, so it teaches people social skills, all sorts, you know, and going forward, I think we're going to do an awful lot more takeaway. I think that's here to stay for a while. And obviously we need to push that. It adds more costs onto us. Everything has to be looked at differently. So it's looking at our business differently rather than, I suppose, looking at it, close the doors.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. On that note, that sounds like a great place to stop. So thank you for that. That's really helpful.
No problem. More than welcome.
All right. Thanks, Michelle.
Okay, talk soon. Bye. Bye.